Welcome everyone to Train Tuesday. I am your host, Jim Wigan with Athearn, and so pleased that you could join us. If you like the type of videos that we've been doing at Athearn, do us a favor and go to our channel, like this video, comment on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. That way you're notified every time a new video like this drops into the channel. So we're going to have a little bit of fun on this episode of Train Tuesday. We're going to be talking about 40-foot pickle cars. We're also going to be talking about taxis. Also, everything that I'm going to be talking about on this episode, you have until Friday, the 26th, to place your pre-orders. Now, that's only a few days away as at the recording of this video. So keep that in mind as we talk about these exciting new products that we're offering for the month of July. So without further ado, let's get comfortable in our workshop chairs, grab the beverage of our choice, and let's get started with another Train Tuesday. We're going to start by talking about the Athearn HO scale 40-foot pickle car. Now, a pickle car was a specialized type of tank car designed to carry, you guessed it, pickles. This car consisted of several wooden or metal vats. There's typically 3 or 4, and was often roofed. Now, pickles, which are preserved in salt brine, were loaded through the hatches in the roof. Now, while these cars are based on a prototype car, we had a little bit of fun with these. The paint schemes that we're showing for this month, they're based on nothing but the imagination of our crew. But we figured we'd have some fun with these cars. And as a result, every car that I'm showing you on this episode has a total of 3 road numbers. So if you really like a certain car, you can pick up 2 matching cars without having to worry about repeating road numbers. So let's get started. So here at the very top, you see Western Food Products. Now again, keep in mind the car that you see on your screen plus 2 additional road numbers are offered. After that, we've got the Hot Ones Pickled Jalapenos. Sounds like a great addition to anybody's roster. And then we also have Sanchez Snack Pickles. Like I said, these are not based on any one prototype. They're more for the whimsy of your layout and or module. We're not done though. We've got 3 more to show you. Up at the very top, we've got the Oregon Pickle Company. In the middle, we have Particular Pickles Incorporated. Say that 5 times fast. And then finally, we've got JB's Extra Fancy Pickle Chips, known throughout the West Coast restaurants and the fine dining areas. JB's Extra Fancy Pickle Chips are sure to make your dinner that much more special. Now, these fun cars will definitely add some variety to your freight car fleet. For those of you that model in an HO modular setting and maybe go to a lot of public shows, these are a great conversation starter, and of course, it'd probably be a crowd favorite. Now, these do have some great features. Let's talk about those real quick. As always, you can go to our website. The link for these cars is in the video description below for further details. But let's go over some of the finer points. Now, these are going to have highly detailed turnbuckles. These are based on older freight cars from turn of the last century up to the 1930s. They're going to have body-mounted McHenry operating scale knuckle couplers. They're going to have machine metal wheels with RP25 contours, so that means that you can operate on those all different types of manufacturers' HO scale track. Of course, they're going to be weighted for optimum performance. They're highly detailed, and they're fully assembled, ready for your layout. Minimum radius on these cars is 15 inches, so even if you've got the smallest layout, even if you've got a 4x8 size layout, you can run these cars on them without any worries. Again, these are based on some models that were, back in the blue box days. They've been upgraded. They've been made to look richer, crisper. The molds have been updated. And unlike the blue box, you're going to have really cool paint schemes on these that have really sharp lettering. You're also going to have metal wheel sets, and you're going to have couplers that are compatible with industry standards, not the old horn hooks. And the other thing, you don't have to build them. You can just take them out of the package and put them on your layout. We do realize too that there are some Athearn collectors out there, so you're going to probably want to add these to your collecting roster. So there you have it, some 40-foot pickle cars. Might not be everybody's cup of tea, but we wanted to offer these to our collectors and for those that like to keep model railroading fun. Coming up next, we're going to go to the automotive section of Athearn. We're going to be talking about the 1950s era taxi. Now, this taxi has been in the Athearn lineup for a number of years. It's roughly based on a checker cab. If you know anything about the actual checker cab, you know that they were in production right up until about 82. These were strong cars. They were favored because they were quite roomy, very strong. They kind of borrowed a little bit of everything from the major manufacturers out there. And a lot of them were used, yes, for taxis, airport shuttles. However, there was some municipalities that used them for other things, and we'll talk about some of those cars in a moment. Now, if you're a modeler of the 1950s into the transition era, you're probably going to want to add one or two of these to your layout. Likewise, we've even got one for you 1980s modelers, and we'll talk about that here briefly. Now, the one that you see on your screen here, this is ATH 74120. It's already been released. We are completely out at Athearn, but you can probably still find these at your favorite Athearn dealer. Now, let's talk about the cars that we're going to offer. These are new paint schemes that we're going to offer for the month of July. And again, you've only got until Friday the 26th to place your pre-orders. So we're going to start at the top. These are all 1950s era cars. You could certainly use them into the early 1960s without any issues. But the first one is a yellow cab. A yellow cab, we've tried to make this generic enough so that it doesn't matter what part of the country or Canada you're using this. It's pretty generic. But it's also got the taxi cab sign that they used to put on these cars back in the day. Next to that, we've also got the diamond cab, a slightly different paint scheme. Again, trying to give you some variety, also giving you some piece of generic artwork so that you can use that anywhere. Then finally, like I was saying earlier, a lot of municipalities use these cars for other things other than taxis. Here we've got a 1950s era fire chief. Again, this would be the perfect car for your firehouse. It was a durable car, and like I said, these cars lasted for many, many years. We've got three more paint schemes that we're going to offer for this taxi car. Now, if you're about 40 years or older, you probably remember Civil Defense. Civil Defense was an organization that was used throughout to the end of World War II into the 1980s and 90s. Pretty much after the Cold War, it went away. But Civil Defense was responsible for everything from air raid shelters, air raid sirens, and public safety. They're also known for patrolling. They used to have air raid siren wardens and things of that nature. So it's not too stretch of imagination to have this 1950s era civil defense rescue vehicle. Again, if you're modeling the 1950s into the early 1960s, this would definitely be a cool model to add to your street scene. Also, we've got a 1950s era U.S. Army. Again, this makes a great staff car for your military base. Again, you would see these even probably up into the 1970s. And then finally, I kind of let you know that we're doing an 80s version as well. Well, we've got a metallic orange car. Now, this isn't a taxi, it's not a service car, it's just a car. Yes, people did buy some of these checker cars as civilian vehicles since they were so tough. But by the 1980s, they were slowly being phased out. And into the 80s and 90s, you'd start seeing these at collector car shows as well as museums. Well, this one is basically somebody particularly liked this car and they've painted it up into a little bit more modern paint scheme. And so this is a car that you can put, maybe you've got a car show on your HO scale layout or maybe a parts store or anything like that. We'll let you decide where you want to put this metallic orange version of this classic. But there you have it. We've got 6 paint schemes for this 1950s car. Now let's talk about the features of this model. Going back to the previous run that we did, give you an idea of those features. These are all factory assembled. All the detail parts are applied. They also have a molded interior with a separately applied steering wheel, clear window glazing, rubber tires, and depending on the car and its use, it will include either a beacon or a taxi sign, and that's where it's appropriate. Now, the beacon does not light up. We're going to leave that up to the more enterprising modelers out there to do that. So there you have it. These are great little details to add to your HO scale layout. Specifically, if you're in the transition area, you're probably going to want to add one or two of these. And keep in mind, you only have until July 26th to place your pre-orders on these models. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed these models for the month of July. Don't forget about the SD50s, the ICC cabooses, the GP38-2s, all of those things that we've talked about in July. Well, you've only got a few more days to make your pre-orders, and you're not going to want to be left empty-handed when they come out next year. That's all I've got for you on this episode of Train Tuesday. I want everyone out there to be happy, be healthy, be safe, do some good modeling, and above all, high greens. Take care, everyone.